Leslie London Neulander died way too young. She was full of life, ready to move on to the next chapter of her life. A chapter that did not include her husband, Robert Neulander. But Robert Neulander stopped Leslie from moving on by putting an end to her life. Now it was time for Robert Neulander to return to prison to continue to serve the life sentence that he deserves for ending the life of Leslie Neulander.
We understand 7 years ago, the court sentenced Dr. Neulander to a term of 20 years. 7 years have since passed. He is now an older man. For all of these reasons, we respectfully urge the court to consider a sentence of not more than 15 years.
I'm turning 71 later this year, and as such, I'm afflicted with numerous serious and crucial medical problems and ailments. I humbly implore the court to allow our families a sliver of hope, a small sliver of hope, that I may die being surrounded by them, my family. Thank you.
This jury wasn't persuaded by sympathy, and they weren't distracted by emotion. 24 people, 2 juries, with little in common except common sense. Not one person believed that this was anything but a homicide. The finding of your guilt was the only constant, perhaps the only thing that hasn't been turned upside down during these unprecedented 7 years. But I do not believe a minimum sentence is appropriate here. As a result of this jury's verdict with regard to murder in the second degree in violation of Penal Law Section 125.25, the sentence is an indeterminate sentence of imprisonment with a minimum of 20 years and the maximum of life and pay. I believe that concludes this matter. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Judge, the judge has approached very close.
An innocent man was sent to prison.
But what if Robert Neulander had admitted the obvious a decade ago and said, I did it? He would be probably, if not out, very close to being out right now. I mean, that's the ultimate irony of his position now, that I'm too sick, you know, to be incarcerated anymore. Confession is good for the soul. It's also sometimes good for your freedom.